Welcome back with another deck showcase, and this time we're using a Sayu freeze deck. We're also using Food Engine in this deck to test if it will work with a Sayu deck. For our deck goes, we will swirl the Hydro created by Mona, followed by additional damage created by the prep skill or the acro skill of Sayu, and then if all characters already have Hydro, we can switch to Shenhe to freeze them at the same time to have a safe burst with Shenhe. So let's go. We're using the box for Dunya to search and add another companion, but luckily we get one, which is Sudong, but I don't think we can use it this round since our first round usually revolves on swirling the Hydro. So now we already created the summon of Mona, and we will switch now to Sayu after opponent's turn. And now switching to Sayu. So we can now use Sayu's skill to swirl the Hydro, and afterwards we can switch to Shenhe to freeze either Xingqiu, Ganyu, or Signora. It's a matter of who will freeze first. Either opponent freeze us first or we will be able to freeze them. But on the other hand, I think it's better to cast Sudong here, so that when we switch to Shenhe, we will be able to use the food, which is this price, and I think we can use Mitros this turn for Sayu. So I think let's use this now, and then the next round we will use the price for Shenhe or Mona and Sayu. Okay, so for round 2, as I said, we can now use Shenhe to freeze Xingqiu, Ganyu, or Signora. But unluckily, our dice, although we're able to use at least Sayu and Shenhe's skill when we use the fries or the fish and chips, but I don't think it's ideal to switch for now. Let's see if we will get the better card next round. Okay, since we'll still have 2 dice, and I think opponent will switch now since Xingqiu already done. So opponents will switch to Xingqiu, I mean to Signora. Okay, so we already removed that shield, and now we can now switch to Shenhe. Okay, now Sayu is frozen. Let's switch to Shenhe and freeze that Signora. So the only thing we can do now is to cast a skill and freeze Ganyu. Although we want to normal attack, but I don't want to tune the arcane card, so we will just switch to Mona and do a normal attack since price discounted our skill. Luckily we got another food since we're running out of food, and we still have the box for NRE. So with this round, I think we can do a skill on Mona before switching to Shenhe, since our dice shows that we can only do a Mona and can you freeze us? So I think we can't switch to Sayu since we still have the fast switch by Mona, but let's see if we can do it. So I think it's better to switch on Shenhe first before Sayu. Freezing Ganyu, removing Hydro access on opponent. And then opponent can normal attack, freezing our Shenhe, removing the last sword of Xingqiu. There's the opponent totally freeze us, and now we have Sayu remaining, but Senora can easily normal our Sayu. So what should we do? Oh, so opponent revive Ganyu. I think opponent still plan to do the charge attack of Ganyu so that our character will be frozen and will receive piercing damage via Ganyu charge attack. Anyway, for round 4, so our dice is full of cryo. So what can we do? So I think we can switch to Shenhe and use a Adeptus Temptation, to kill the Xingqiu and removing the priest part. Also, since we already used the arcane, for sure the opponent will not switch on Senora, since opponent doesn't want since opponent doesn't want character or Senora to be frozen. So that's the only thing we can do, and I think I will use the NRE replacing Dunya, since Chef Mao did not arrive, and hoping to get a good card to use. I thought opponent will kill Shenhe. Let's see. Can I feed it? Oh, I will just feed the Lotus Crypt on Mona. Then Mona will tank it, and the next round we will be able to do a fast switch. So we will just do a quick swap, or rather summon the reflection, then switch to Shenhe to freeze Senora. I didn't expect that this game will reach to round 5, but let's see. Oh, we got now Anemo dice, so I think we can burst with Sayu, but I think it's better more to freeze. Let's see. So I will summon, dealing 3 damage, and I can either do a normal attack for Shenhe, or I think it's better to switch on Shenhe and tune 2 more dice to freeze and kill, but opponent has freeze or protection. Let's see, switching here. Since our skill is already +2, +1 on passive, I think it's 4, so we still deal 4 damage on top of that protection. And that's all. Bye.